As unanimous consent, the Senate now proceed to the en bloc consideration of the following Senate resolutions, which were submitted earlier today: S-Res 553, S-Res 554, and S-Res 555.
With that, the Senate passed an historic resolution recognizing American Muslims and their contributions to our nation. The House version of this resolution recognized past and present American Muslims, such as Yaro Mahmoud, the freed African-American Muslim slave who later became one of the first shareholders of the Second Chartered Bank in America, famed architect and designer Fazlur Rahman Khan, who designed the Sears Tower and the John Hancock Center, Dr. Ahmed Hassan Zewail, who won a Nobel Prize in chemistry, Muhammad Salman Hamdani, the New York City Police Department cadet who died heroically helping others in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks, and perhaps the world's most famous American Muslim, boxer Muhammad Ali. These and other athletes, entrepreneurs, civil rights activists, religious leaders, academics, scientists, elected officials, and public servants help define who we are as American Muslims. CAIR will work to encourage passage of the House resolution, just as we did in the U.S. Senate. This effort to educate our fellow Americans about Islam and Muslims is just part of our mission to enhance understanding of Islam, protect civil rights, promote justice, and empower American Muslims. That mission is best illustrated through the impact it has on the lives of American Muslim women, men, and youth.
We had learned that there had been a mass firing of 139 Somali workers because they were essentially forced to choose between their religion and their work. We jumped on board quickly. We brought on a local attorney, Qusair Muhammad Bai, and began representing these individuals. We were able to put in effect a religious accommodation policy change, and we were able to get $1.7 million judgment.
CAIR's legal victories have not been limited to the workplace. This year, a federal judge in Alaska approved an agreement between CAIR and that state's attorney general that required Muslim inmates observing Ramadan be provided with adequate nutrition.
When prisoners are being forced to choose between their diet and their faith, that's unacceptable. So it is the policy of our organization to make an impact on as many lives in the American Muslim community as we can.
CAIR's intervention also led to the end of a police blockade of a Muslim-owned business in Virginia so that local Muslims could carry out obligations associated with Eid ul-Adha. Just one letter from CAIR made all the difference for the Muslim community.
A Muslim community in Northern Virginia says their holiday was almost ruined because of a dust-up with police.
The situation ultimately led the butcher to seek the help of the Council on American Islamic Relations.
We had our attorney working on it for months before. I mean, and all it took was this, a phone call and some pressure from CAIR. We had 500 people come in and do the sacrifice, so they wouldn't have been able to go upon their religious obligation.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
CAIR lawsuits helped a number of American Muslim citizens return home after being barred from their own country by the Muslim ban, being placed on the no-fly list, or subjected to unwarranted detentions after being placed on a watch list.
We've deposed CBP, TSA, the FBI, and they've been sworn under oath and have been forced to answer our questions about the watch listing system and its various abuses.
In the United States, I think that this is a call to greater activism. We have challenges to this lawsuit that are proceeding in the lower courts, and they will continue in the lower courts because the Supreme Court's decision here was not the last word.
In the last year, CAIR received more than 2,500 reports of anti-Muslim discrimination, bias, threats, and violence. That is a marked increase over past years. Hate crimes also spiked since the 2016 election. Increasingly, those impacted by growing Islamophobia nationwide include Muslim youth. According to CAIR's research, more than half of Muslim students face bullying because of their faith, ethnicity, or national origin. CAIR is working to stop that bullying and to help parents protect their children. Bullying is often the result of ignorance. That is why CAIR distributed copies of Islam's holy text to institutions, officials, and individuals nationwide, and recently reached our goal of distributing 150,000 copies of the Quran. Along with helping to protect Muslim youth, CAIR is also empowering them to take up their role as leaders for justice in our society.
Part of my responsibility is to organize meals every year in Annapolis. It was really exciting to see the role that CAIR has had in helping to shape the identity of young Muslims who are up and coming and who are inspired to be more politically and civically engaged.
What I learned from the Muslim Youth Leadership Symposium was that we're the leaders of the next generation, so we should have leadership skills. It was just so inspiring to see all these people, young people my age, all there for one purpose.
With increasing hate rhetoric targeting Muslims, CAIR's political and civic empowerment is not limited to youth. Each year, CAIR chapters nationwide host Muslim Day at the capital events around the country. This year, some 400 delegates from 28 states met with more than 250 elected officials and congressional staffers during National Muslim Advocacy Day on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., co-sponsored and coordinated by CAIR.
This annual political empowerment event is held underneath the leadership of the U.S. Council of Muslim Organization, a coalition that we're proud to be a part of.
I wanted to go and voice my concerns, and the only way that I felt I could do that was through something like Hill Day, where I could go and voice my concerns, propose the resolution that CAIR had helped us and prepared us so that we can show them that we are active citizens of this country, we are participating in our government system and giving us a voice to be heard.
Every day, the Government Affairs Department is scanning legislation and policy at the local, state, and federal level. Not only are we educating Muslims on these issues, but we're empowering them through action alerts, policy fact sheets, and arranging meetings so they can meet with these elected officials and let them know what the voice of the Muslim community wants.
CAIR has also launched a nationwide training program with the goal of helping 200 American Muslims to run for office in 2020. Just hours after the Trump administration's cruel policy of separating families at the border was made public, CAIR held an event outside a Virginia facility holding children torn from their families.
CAIR has formed coalitions to work with other organizations to address important issues in our society, like the family border separations and also police brutality against African Americans and people of color. Also the issue of DACA, the Dreamers Act. These are issues that affect all of us in the society.
CAIR also organized a moving tour by Muslim leaders of sites associated with the civil rights movement, designed to coincide with the inauguration of the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama.
Ya Allah, please have us have a safe journey as we are here in these days, recognizing the struggles of the African American people. Ya Rabbil Alameen, please guard and secure and keep peaceful the hearts of those who are suffering trauma. Ya Allah, please have mercy upon our pious Muslim ancestors who gave their lives and shed their blood here on this land, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Subhan rabbika bi'izzati amma yasifun, wa salamun ala al-mursalin, walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
As the needs of the community grow, so does CAIR. Since last year, CAIR has doubled in size. We have added more than 20 full-time civil rights attorneys since the election of Donald Trump. New publications outlining hard facts and data about American Muslims and their civil rights are being issued regularly. Our ongoing monitoring of anti-Muslim hate groups and Islamophobic public officials or policymakers resulted in swift pushback against haters and bigots.
What we see throughout these reports is that it covers different kinds of incidents. So one year we may see an increase in bullying, or we may see an increase in watch list cases. And so what that does is it shows us what areas we need to focus on when it comes to advocacy, and it allows us to actually move forward change in a positive direction on issues in which American Muslims are being very directly and deeply impacted.
The United Nations even rejected an Islamophobic Trump administration nominee for a UN migration post after CAIR called for the withdrawal of his nomination. We now have a fully staffed chapter development department strengthening CAIR's presence nationwide.
To continue to grow the capacity of current chapters, the chapter department offers internal trainings. The trainings focus on fundraising, communications, safety, board strengthening, and nonprofit management.
CAIR is adding staff of all faiths and backgrounds wishing to serve the community and protect civil rights.
After Donald Trump got elected and the Muslim ban was enacted, I vowed on Facebook that I didn't care what it took. I would quit my job if I had to, but I was going to go to bat for defending the constitutional rights of Muslims and minorities in America. And I'm very grateful that CAIR liked my application and hired me to defend American Muslims' constitutional rights.
Hundreds of CAIR staff, board members, and volunteers around the nation are working every day to ensure a brighter future for the American Muslim community. This important work needs to be carried out by a solid institution. These civil rights cases will not resolve themselves. Community members targeted by discrimination cannot represent themselves. CAIR is the only organization that fulfills this important role for the community. We are growing nationwide. You count on us to defend you and your family. Can we count on you? Please support CAIR generously. Thank you.